little emoji things, so you can get them up in the top corners.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay, right, yeah, I'm recording.
Okay, you do realise, Nick, this is the first video I've done since January, I think.
Okay, so you're a bit rusty then.
More than rusty. More than rusty. Okay, so Nick, thank you for jumping on this call with me to go over how it is we know each other, how we came to being coach and client, and kind of where you were before we met. What kind of triggered you to think I actually need help with my health and with my weight and with my progress, and then what it is we've been doing since we started working 5 short weeks ago. So I suppose originally, what was it that got us connected a year ago, if you can remember that far back?
I think I'm sure I put a post up, and it was something around the topic of actually I think it was one of the first videos I did, sort of introducing myself, and you kind of really resonated with it because you obviously got a love for snowboarding and cycling and video games. So we got into a deep in-depth discussion about video gaming, and just I mean that's what I love about LinkedIn. The platform is that you just instantly click with people that have got kind of similar interests to you. So that's what stood out for me, I think.
I think it's finding common ground in totally non-work related subjects, and then talking to each other. And I remember I was producing a lot of video content when we first connected, as part of the drive, and then we just got chatting, and then you gave me loads of tips on videos, lighting, cameras. I remember asking you about that. So if this doesn't come out very well, this isn't Nick's fault. It's just I'm not a very good listener. But we originally got connected in August 2019, and it was nothing to do with either of us trying to prospect each other for business. It was more just, oh, this guy posts cool stuff. Let's follow, let's get to know. And literally, we just backed and forth on each other's content for, well, half a year, over half a year, maybe 7-8 months.
Yeah. So a long time. And then I kind of made a decision one day. I think it was I'd kind of put a post up. I'd kind of gotten to a point in my life where I was kind of I had a kind of lot of baggage, and I was dealing with a lot of trauma, and that was kind of seriously kind of affecting my weight as well. So I reached out to you, and then we kind of took it from there. I think it was kind of a sort of tipping point on a post that I put up, and I was like, right, I'm determined to kind of do something about this now and kind of take back a bit of control with my eating and dietary habits and my exercise as well. I mean, I've always been quite keen on exercising, and I'm quite active, but it's mainly kind of the food intake really, and sort of kind of finding a balance with that. So that's what I thought would hit you up.
So before we actually spoke, just before we spoke, you're a big fan of cycling, downhill mountain biking, and you're pretty active in terms of exercise. So when you say you were struggling with your weight, with your health, what exactly, can you remember what your kind of position was before we actually started working together, in terms of what the weight was, any of the info you could share?
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously kind of on the heavy side, and when you're you're doing those kind of activities, it does have a sort of marked effect on your, in order to earn the downhill part of mountain biking, you have to climb up the hill, and when you're carrying that much extra timber, it does show. So I was kind of determined to do something about it. For me, I've got a family as well. I've got really young children, an 8-year-old and a 1-year-old, and he's just permanently running around everywhere. So I was determined to get the weight off and just get a bit more active and not feel so tired in the evenings. I mean, the thing is that I think I'm sure everyone does, loves junk food as well. But it's the kind of getting into the mindset of moderating that. And the great thing is, like, working with you, I can still have days where I have a bit of dirt now and again because it's good. But
it's all part of it, isn't
it? So you don't have to eat like a monk and live on an island somewhere. You can maintain a decent and decent intake of food and still enjoy food as well, which is it's
Yeah, I think
a big thing for me. Love my grub, so being able to enjoy it still is it's pretty important.
because before we worked together, you were active physically, but then nutritionally, it was kind of convenience, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of takeaways, a lot of just eat, and thing is as well, like you go to all the lengths to kind of increase your sort of calorie deficit, to obviously do more exercise to sort of offset the fact that you're eating garbage, but you may as well not be doing it because you're putting garbage in, and you might just be burning it off a little bit, but it's you're on a road to nowhere. It's a combination of diet and exercise really, which is what I needed help with. So.
Okay, because I remember because obviously you're a business owner yourself, and you spend some days in your office where you are now, but then you also spend a couple of days at home, one with the kids. There's your work week is not a remotely stereotypical standard work week, regardless of coronavirus. It's just not a standard work week. So where you're eating varies. It can be at home, it can be out, it can be literally out and about with the kids. So I think one of the things when we originally spoke, you were like, I really don't want to be meal prepping on a Sunday for the week. Like, I don't want to have you are good at eating some of the same foods again, and I'm like having a routine, but you didn't want to have to be boiled chicken and broccoli
No,
out of squeaky Tupperware every day, and out on meals with the kids in the evenings and things like that.
It's a big kind of sort of shift in mindset that you've kind of helped me with, in terms of that there are days when I'm going to be out on site with clients doing filming work as well, and it's not always you have to kind of learn to adapt a little bit to the environment, and having that kind of stable base to work with that you've helped me with has enabled me to do that. You can't always you can't be so rigid in your routine that any kind of slight variation in it has a kind of knock-on effect. So it's definitely helped in that regards. And then I mean, we're all creatures of habit, and it's nice to have a routine. Sometimes can go out the window. So it's having that base to work off, that that when something does go kind of last minute, you get something thrown, you can still kind of handle it, and you still kind of stick to the sort of foundation of the meals and stuff. So.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so when we were talking about health, I remember I did a post about tips on how to improve energy, because I know that was something you were struggling with, and then you were like, can I have one of those videos? So I created one of those videos for you, and I gave you some good info, some easily applicable stuff you can go away and try and do. How much of it did you honestly go away and do? This is way before we were working together. This was like the first quarter of the year. So we talked, I created this video, gave it to you. You went away and did.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I watched it and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, these are really good tips." I didn't do any of it.
And I didn't bring that up, Nick. I didn't bring that up to shame you or to embarrass you or to get back at you. It was more of a case of, even with being given, that the stuff I told you in the video is exactly what we've touched upon already in the 5 weeks we've been working together. But the difference is getting free information, as opposed to what we're now doing, where you are adhering to the goals that we set and the things that we talk about. Why do you think, if you're remotely aware, why do you think that when I told you it prior to us commencing work together, it was something that you were interested in but didn't act on, as opposed to now that we're working together? Was there some process that you went through, or that we went through, that kind of enabled you to start adhering to things?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously there's the monetary aspect of it. I've handed over cash to make sure that my health is important to me, and that's a big for me. It's a financial commitment for me is always kind of it focuses me a bit more.
Motivator.
A big motivator, but there's also the accountability aspect of having you there as well, knowing that I've got you to answer to if I don't kind of nail my is brilliant. It's fantastic knowing that you're at the end of a WhatsApp text message, and I could just text you and say, like, I'm struggling a bit this week, or I need help with this, or I couldn't figure this out, and knowing that you're there is fantastic, and that's what I think kind of makes the difference really between being just given. Because anyone can kind of, if you really wanted to, you could jump on Google and you can do kind of your own research and sort of pick out the kind of salient points you want. But having it kind of packaged up and delivered by you, you doing it, I feel kind of a lot calmer in your presence. It's just the way you kind of deliver information just makes it a bit more easily digestible for me. So yeah,
a bit more palatable than reading a Google article and wondering where on earth to start.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the moment was when you decided, actually, do you know what, I'm not going to just keep watching the videos or reading the content or asking for an energy video. I'm going to actually go the next step to want to have a proper conversation with Dan. Talking about third person, that sounds just really weird. Talking with me.
Yeah.
What was it? Do you remember what it was that kind of triggered you to go, do you know what, actually, I need to take this seriously? Essentially, when you realised that you needed to make yourself a priority. Do you remember when that was?
Yeah, it was as I mentioned before, I put a post up a while back, kind of referring to some childhood trauma that I'd had, and it was like I'd kind of got that off my chest, and I was like, okay, I'm dealing with this now, and this is something I know I have to kind of address and kind of manage and kind of move forward from. So that was the kind of tipping point for me. It was like, okay, I need to. This is basically a reboot of me, and I need to kind of address it. And yeah, that was it. Basically, it was that kind of tipped me over the edge. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember when you posted that, and I remember kind of the few weeks afterwards. Then we started talking a bit more seriously about having getting on the phone and having a proper chat about your health. So after that point, we got on the phone a couple of times. We spoke a few times, and then you decided to work with me. Just out of curiosity, what was it that, I know we already had a relationship standing from getting to know each other for quite a considerable amount of time and quite consistently via LinkedIn, but what was it that made you think you'd already decided to make yourself a priority and to change? So you'd already done some of the hardest work, which was, there is something wrong, I need to change it, I'm going to change it. What was it that made you decide to work with me particularly, as opposed to trying again to do it on your own, or working with someone else, or getting a personal trainer? Can you tell me what the difference was, or why you chose?
That one's easy. Just the sheer amount of content you bombarded me with every day.
Saturation. I was the only person you could think of.
Yeah, you were just there. So yeah, it does. It definitely works.
Content on LinkedIn does work.
Yep.
Okay, so it was just basically you couldn't avoid me, so you decided to have a chat with me.
You broke me. So I was trying to, yeah.
That I don't know whether that's a selling point or not, Nick. But thanks, mate. I appreciate that. What are some of the things about the process since we started working together that got you really involved in the process, in the habit changing, in the systems development, in setting up that structure, and the accountability that enables you to actually enjoy the journey that you're on? Because we're 5 weeks into, well, this is actually we're in the 6th week right now as we're recording, of a 16-week program. So what is it about it that's gotten you really involved, gotten you smashing your targets every week and getting the great results that you've gotten?
I definitely think that goal setting, I mean, I'm very goal orientated, as you know, from the kind of video game side of stuff. I like to kind of challenge myself and kind of level up, and the goal setting aspect of it for me was really cool. The fact that you kind of give me, kind of smaller goals during the week to kind of handle, and if I kind of miss any of those or I don't achieve them, we kind of carry them over to the next week. But it's great because you don't kind of bombard me with information. It's like, okay, we're going to focus on these small things each week, and we get them, and it's a win. It's like, and then they become kind of a core component of you moving forward. So they become much more habitual and habit forming, and that's something I think a lot of people struggle with, is kind of changing their habit formation. And the whole goal setting thing massively helped me with that.
So having the larger goal of getting your proverbial shit together regarding your weight, your health, your mental health outlook, getting all of that sorted, lowering stress levels, that's the big goals. But it's the micro goal, weekly approach, small changes every week, the compounding effect of 1 week we change 3 or 4 things, the next week we change another 3 or 4 things. And so the idea is they stack up. That's an easy approach for you. You found that easy to adhere to and to kind of follow.
Yeah, a lot easier. I think trouble is you get some people kind of bombard you with too much information, and the great thing I think with you as well is it's kind of a feedback loop. So you specifically tailor the content to the individual, and how their mind works, and things that they're quite focused on, and you tailor the goals around that, so that it's a lot more manageable for people. It's not just a kind of off the shelf thing where it's like one size fits all. You've kind of made it a lot more bespoke and tailored to the person, and it works. So yeah.
When you say it works, in the 5 weeks we've worked together, do you want to toot you've already tooted your own horn on social media, but do you want to toot your own horn as to how that journey's going so far?
Yep, I'm 1 stone and 1 pound down now in the 5 weeks, and that's consistent weight loss every week. So yeah, I'm well happy. I'm going to try, and my next kind of target over the next month, because I think I said to you before, Wales in September with a couple of mates to go to a bike park there. So I want to try and see if I can shift another stone before then, because obviously the bike's going to handle a bit better, and we get a bit more air time with the poundage off. So yeah, that's my next goal. But yeah, it's going bloody fantastic at the moment.
Awesome. I mean, it's not just the weight though. Just on the do you remember? You've lost 2 inches off your chest so far.
Yeah.
You've lost almost 3 inches off of your abs and waist area, and then another 2.5 inches of your hips.
T-shirt's loose fitting now. It used to be quite tight. My trousers are they're roomy. It's awesome. It just feels good.
You had those shorts that you tried on. You told me about the other week, which you hadn't been able to wear for a while.
I bought 4 pairs of shorts probably about 2 years ago, and they were all, because it was at the time it was like, okay, this is kind of my goal. I'm going to get these slightly smaller shorts, and I'm determined to get into them. And I haven't got into them for years. And I tried a pair on the other day, and I actually did the button up, and it didn't feel painful. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. So yeah, that was a pretty big win for me.
Pretty awesome when you actually start feeling more comfortable in the clothes you want to wear, get to wear the clothes you want to wear. But yeah, I mean, your results have been really, really good so far, and I have no doubt they're going to continue in the same trajectory they're on. But to achieve a stone and a pound loss, so that's 15 pounds in 5 weeks essentially. Did it feel like you were dieting? Did it feel like you were living in the gym or exercising or exercising the whole time or being restrictive?
No, and that's the beautiful thing about it. It didn't feel restrictive. You'd kind of tailored it to my my existing kind of lifestyle and habits, and the fact that I've got a family, and my kind of working day and everything else. So it's I mean, I'm not, personally, I'm not a massive fan of gyms. I hate being inside gyms. Some people love it. I don't. I like being outside and sort of exercising outside. So again, the fact that you kind of tailored it around me and my lifestyle and the way I kind of live and work has been fantastic. But yeah, definitely can't complain. Gyms are not for me. I'm not a big gym fan.
Yeah, gyms are not for you. I don't think they're for a lot of people, Nick. So it's the fact that you've been able to continue with activities you actually enjoy, being active with the kids, doing your downhill mountain biking, doing some high intensity resistance training, which is new to you though, to be fair. It's not I haven't made you go to the gym, but I have made you step out of the comfort zone of being on a bike and get you doing some body weight resistance training. But it's not that painful, is it?
No, no. It's I'm starting to get more. My body's starting to get more used to it already. I think the first probably couple of weeks I did it, it was like a little bit groany. But yeah, it's become part of my routine now. So it's a lot more manageable.
Cool. And outside of just kind of the results you've gotten in these first 5 weeks, what's it actually been like? And I'm quite curious to hear this. What's it been like just working with me thus far? Like, is it what you expected? Have there been any good or bad surprises? Preferably good, but have there been any surprises that have happened to what you thought was going to kind of play out as we work together?
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I had sort of any expectations of how it would, like how you would sort of kind of administer the course, I suppose. So I had no sort of preconceptions kind of going in. I don't think there's been any kind of any negatives. I think sometimes I probably find it's the kind of compounding effect of doing the goals sometimes. Depending on whether I'm kind of having a kind of stressful or busy week at work, sometimes, and this is what's great about it with you, is that sometimes, sometimes I might miss something, but it's giving you that grounding and making it habit forming. And like you said before, habit formation is difficult, so that when we miss a goal, we carry it on next week, and we kind of anchor it to a goal that's already kind of established, like my journaling, for example. And sort of adding my meditation onto that, that's probably been the kind of the only thing I think, is that sometimes when it gets busy and a bit too kind of stressful, you tend to, because you built all these other kind of goals up, adding more to them, sometimes you might miss them. But the fact that you let me carry them over, and then you kind of, it's like, okay, well, you might not have hit all your goals, or one particular goal maybe may have been, to exercise 3 times that week or something, and maybe I've only hit 2 that week. So it's like, okay, we'll carry on next week and we'll aim for 3. So it's incremental building on the existing goals that you've got, which make it good. But it's that's probably the only thing I think I can kind of think of that's been a challenging part of it. But other than that,
challenging but surmountable overall.
Yeah. It's not like it's you're kind of my analogy is you kind of climbing Everest, and someone's carved steps into the side of it, and it's just one step at a time. So
nice, I like that analogy. It's a good one. I do like a good analogy, as you well know, Nick. So thank you for managing to shoehorn one in. Outside of the weight, outside of size, outside of the process being something that you're enjoying and not too difficult, have there been other areas in these first 5 weeks that you've noticed improvements upon, that maybe you were surprised to see an improvement in, or you maybe thought that it would take longer to see those improvements?
I mean, just the compounding effect, and I think sort of the meditation and my outlook, and my change in my sort of level of persistence is definitely altered as well. I think because I'm a creative, my brain tends to kind of flit around from one thing to another quite a lot, and kind of being like I said to you before, when I I think that's why I love mountain biking, I love snowboarding, I love filmmaking, because you kind of get into that flow state of where you're not consciously thinking about anything else but the thing that you're doing, and kind of doing this helps me get into that flow state with a lot of other things that I wouldn't ordinarily get into, and the meditation massively helps as well. So it's definitely improved my sort of clarity of focus. I feel a lot less tired as well. Like I used to feel quite tired in the evenings. Obviously, when you've got kids, like the lack of sleep from a 1-year-old being up most of the night is always a bit of a killer. But I feel like I've got a lot more energy now. I'm sleeping better, and just a lot more focused as well, which is good, and calmer.
So more energy, more focus, calmer. So the focus thing, I love how you're talking about sports where you get that flow state and the physical activity of being so in the zone with something. that time flies and you don't realize, or it seems like it's standing still. When you say better focus, are you finding that in your work as well now? So it's kind of positioned in not just from exercise and from solely the health aspect of your life, it's kind of that focus and energy is filtering out into other areas.
And I think as well the kind of again, kind of going back to my like previously, I was relatively organized anyway, but the time management aspect, even just a simple thing like diarising, literally, I will obviously diarise meetings during the week, but you're getting me to diarise my exercise, my meal prep, all those things, which ordinarily I'd be like, okay, well, I'll address that or I'll get to it. But now, because I'm quite a digital techie guy, it's in my diary. It's like, okay, well, I need to address that. I need to address that. So I'm literally diarising everything now, and it's making sure it's getting done, which is awesome.
I mean, time is something that most business owners or execs I speak to always don't have enough of. So it might seem odd if anyone's watching this that time management pops into a health coaching conversation, but to ensure you have enough time to do all the things you need to do in life, you need to manage that time. So yes, and it's not about being every second accounted for in the day and in the diary, but it's about, like you said, it's a great way you said that you diarise all your work stuff because that was a major priority. So what we're doing now is we've kind of brought yourself, you, Nick, we brought your priority up to match with the family and work rather than trailing behind, so that you actually diarise, you make time for yourself. And I think, I know that is a massive impactor for a lot of people, but for you, have you even thought about the fact that you are putting yourself up there as a priority now?
I think it's I think kind of the journaling helps, and the sort of gratitude practice as well. And again, it's the compounding effect of like, okay, well, you know, your business is up here and the priority is there with your business, and you're kind of trailing down there. But if you bring yourself up, then that naturally, as a consequence of that being there, you're gonna, you know, hopefully the business is going to build up as well. So yeah, it's massively helped in all aspects.
When you level up it's almost like an automatic leveling up of the relationships you have because you're in a better place.
Yeah, you just feel more comfortable, more relaxed, and yeah, you're just a lot more chilled out and focused. So awesome. Loving it.
To hear. I suppose the last thing is, if someone watching this is in the same position as you were, they were struggling with their health, they hadn't really, maybe they've been able to lose weight before, like you've been up and down a little bit, but it would always come back on, or the process was miserable. So if somebody's kind of in that place, maybe runs their own business, but they're in the same position as you were before signing on, what would you recommend they do? If someone was where you were 5, 6, 7 weeks ago?
Just have a chat with Dan. Just speak to him. There's no, the thing I love, I think the most about Dan is that not at any point during our entire relationship did he say to me, "You need to buy my course." He was, there was no, he didn't even sell me at all. You know, I made the decision to go and speak to Dan. Just have a chat with him, speak to him over DMs on LinkedIn, or just arrange a call with him. But yeah, it's if you're even sort of kind of on the fence about you know, your kind of weight and your sort of mental state, just speak to him. Simple as that. Have a chat with the man. He's cool.
Always happy to have a chat with people who are stressed about their health and their well-being and want to improve it. But I appreciate those kind words, Nick. So I mean, we've still got, we're in week 6, so we've still got 10, 11 weeks left of this program to go.
Yeah.
How do you reckon you're going to be feeling? If you're feeling this good now, how do you reckon you're going to be feeling by the end of the 16 weeks?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of, I want to obviously build a bit more muscle mass, which, you know, me speaking about muscle mass at a stage where I'm just like, where I look like Mr. Blobby, you know, over a month ago, is phenomenal in itself. But yeah, I'd like to shift maybe another couple of stone, which I think is more than achievable in the time frame that we got. I just want to push it now and see sort of how how far I can kind of take it really. And then the great thing about this is I'm the weight's coming off and I'm keeping it off, and it's consistently going down, which is just, yeah, it's amazing. I'm loving it.
It's a novel experience for a lot of people to actually lose weight week in, week out. Some weeks it might be £3, some weeks it might just be £1 or half a pound, but the progress is, you're always making that progress.
Trend, yeah, which is amazing.
Awesome. Well, look, Nick, I really appreciate you agreeing to jump on a Zoom chat with me and to discuss your progress thus far, even though it's only been 5 short weeks. Hopefully your great results already, and also just the process you've been through, resonates with somebody, and maybe even if they don't work with me, hopefully it just inspires them to think, do you know what, if Nick can do it when he's got 2 young kids, a wife, and his own business, if he can make time for and prioritize his health, there's no reason why I can't. And I think that's a big thing, is deciding to make yourself a priority is hugely important, but also just, you can make time even when you're super busy with family, young kids, and a business. The excuse of time can be gotten around for almost everyone eventually.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's kind of I don't want to get all kind of hippified, but it is there's definitely a massive element of kind of self-love to it as well. It's like you are important, and you need to take care of yourself, and that's just. Yeah.
To be honest, Nick, the fact that we only just mentioned some woo-woo hippie stuff at the end there, I mean, I'm not woo-woo hippie that much, but I think it is a big aspect of what I do. For a lot of blokes, it's actually, a lot of guys I work with globally, it's an area that they often aren't comfortable with, is this idea of prioritizing themselves, loving themselves. Actually, it's okay to want to make yourself happier and better, and putting you first in a compassionate way. So I think it's interesting you bring that up, because it's a process that even the most stoic of guys sometimes go through when they work with me, is, you know, it's okay to want to make myself improved and happier. And I think the happier thing and the more content and less stressed thing is often overlooked. But if you improve your health, you end up feeling those things anyway.
Yeah, so it's a natural byproduct of it. So yeah, you are important. It's it's important that you take care of yourself, so do it.
Like it. Let's end on that. Thanks a lot, Nick, mate. Appreciate you taking the time to have a chat with me today.
No worries, dude.
Thanks.